Alright, continuing with practice for assignment number 22, factoring quadratics. And there was a great deal of talk about this, but not enough practice. It seems complicated, but it's really not. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to make negative 24, and they also have to add to make negative 2. So I'm going to factor 24, and we discussed negative 24 as being the number that has the most factors. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And then I'm looking for one of those two numbers to be negative because I'm trying to multiply to negative 24. It could be the other one that was negative, but when I add those two, I get 23, 10, 5, and 2. The one of those that I was looking for was the sum of the two factors to be equal to negative 2. So they are 6 and 4, and which one of those needs to be negative? Well, how about the 6? So I'm going to factor this as x minus 6 and x plus 4, and then let's double check that that works. So I'm going to put my factors on the box. This is x squared. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is 6 times 4 is negative 24, what I wanted from here. And then the sum of these two terms, negative 6x and positive 4x, when I add those two together, I get negative 6 plus 4, which is negative 2x, the middle term that I was looking for. So altogether, when I multiply x minus 6 times x plus 4, I get x squared minus 2x minus 24, which is what I was looking for. Alright, we continue our practice, so pause here. Alright, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to make 10 and add to make negative 7. So that seems confusing because this is positive and this is negative. So all of the ways to make 10 would be 1 and 10, 2 and 5, but also negative 1 and negative 10, and negative 2 and negative 5. So if the two factors, negative and negative, multiply, they make a positive, right? So when I add these together, I get negative 11, and when I add these together, I get negative 7. These make positive 7, these make positive 11. And the one of these that I want to choose is the one that adds up to negative 7, and the solution to this puzzle is negative 2 and negative 5. So the factors, the two binomials that multiply to make this trinomial, are x minus 2 times x minus 5. So again, I say this as times because they're touching. So I'm going to use a box to distribute that and double check. X minus 5. So negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x, and negative 5 times x gives me negative 5x. When I add those two like terms, I get negative 7x, which is the middle term that I was looking for. And then the negative 2 here times the negative 5 here give me positive 10, the last term in the trinomial that I was looking for. So indeed, when I multiply x minus 2 times x minus 5, I get x squared minus 7x plus 10. Alright, so these two binomials multiply to give me the trinomial I was looking for. Alright, next one. Trying to multiply to 15 and add to 8. The factors of 15 are 3 and 5, and 1 and 15. And when I add these together, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 1 plus 15 is 16. So the one of those that I want is 3 and 5. So it's x plus 3 times x plus 5, and let's double check. So x plus 3 and x plus 5, the 5x and the 3x from the two middle terms give me 8x, so the sum of those two like terms give me 8x, and the product, 3 times 5 is 15. So when I multiply x plus 3 times x plus 5, I get x squared plus 8x plus 15. Alright, pause here. Next puzzle. Trying to multiply two numbers to make negative 35 as a product, and then they add to make positive 2. Now this is negative, so one of my two factors needs to be negative and the other one positive. The factors of 35 are negative 7 and positive 5, negative 35 and positive 1, and then it could also be positive 7 and negative 5, and positive 35 and negative 1. So when I multiply 7 times 5, I get 35. And now what I'm going to do is add each of these together. This would give me negative 2. That's not what I want. This would give me negative 34. This would give me positive 2. That looks good. And this would give me 34. So these are the possible middle terms that I could get. And the one that I want is this one here. Positive 7 and negative 5 are the two digits that solve this puzzle. So I factor this as x plus 7 and x minus 5. So to double check, x squared, 7x, negative 5x, negative 35. And when I add these two terms, 7 minus 5 gives me 2x, the middle term I was looking for. So this finally is x squared plus 2x minus 35. When I multiply, I apologize, x plus 7 times x minus 5. All right, pause here. I'm moving on. All right, here's our next puzzle. This actually, okay, I'm going to multiply to make plus 2 and add to make negative 3. So the factors of 2 are positive 2 and positive 1. 2 times 1 is 2. But also negative 2 and negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Because when I multiply two negatives, I get a positive. So these add to positive 3, and these add to negative 3. The one that I want is the one that adds to negative 3. The two factors are negative 2 and negative 1. So I factor this as x minus 2 times x minus 1. So x times x is x squared. Negative 1 times x goes here. Negative 2 times x goes here. And negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Because two negatives make a positive. When I add the two diagonal terms, negative 2 and negative 1, I get negative 3x, the middle term I was looking for. So x minus 2 times x minus 1 is equal to x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right, pause here. Moving on to the next one. I'm trying to multiply to make 24 and add to make 11. The factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. This adds to 25, 14, 11, and 10. And I wanted the sum to be 11, so the solution of the puzzle is 3 and 8. So the two binomials are x plus 3 and x plus 8. When I multiply x times x, I get x squared. X times 3, I get 3x. 8 times x, I get 8x. And 8 times 3, I get 24. The middle two terms, 3 and 8. 3x and 8x add up to make 11x, the middle term I was looking for, and so it is true that x plus 3 times x plus 8 is equal to the trinomial x squared plus 11x plus 24. Pause here, move on to the next one. And I think we've already done 16 and 60. All right, so that is it. The next one of these, this is assignment 22. The next one of these is a little bit more difficult. So let me bring up Wolfie Math here. So 22 is pretty much just this simple game. The two numbers that multiply to one thing and add to the other thing, 22. But then once we get to 23, you're really going to want to understand how to do this. So 23, it has a leading term, and I'll talk about that in a moment.